Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Carried by the Breeze. It's been a while since I recorded an episode, but this time I'm being called to it because for a while now I've been hearing the whisper on the wind of change blowing into my ear, telling me so many things and mysteries and asking so many questions about the future that is slowly unraveling in front of us. I always ask myself, what is going to be with the next generation? Where are we all headed? What is happening around us? Where did we come from? What is our purpose? How to live the life of our dreams? Because mainly, let's admit it, we came here to be happy, but nobody really reveals a lot of secrets to how to get there. That's why I decided to gather around me all the amazing, inspirational people I met on my life's journey to get you inspired to live in your most authentic self and to pursue the life of your dreams, because it is possible to live it, to embrace it, and to embody the person you need to become in order to truly, fully live it. So today on our episode, I'm having a good friend of mine, Stace Zimmerman, a digital nomad and an adventurous explorer, a CEO of its own company that he built, let me tell you, 5 years before Google even existed. His own little empire allowed him to travel the world, to see the beauty of humankind, to volunteer in different places, and to contribute to the growth of the next generation. I'm so happy to be his friend and to follow his raw, authentic, amazing shares of his travel around the world. So join me on this episode to talk about how less could mean a lot more than you think, how to find the grace within yourself, the discipline to live a simple life that truly fulfills you. Let's get to it. So, Stace, welcome to the Carried by the Breeze show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So I was just telling folks about the fact that Carried by the Breeze kind of changed its course during the past few months. So now it's all about, kind of creating a wind of change for the younger generation to embark on their own lifetime journeys, to experience life in all its color and kind of break the shackles of today's society where everybody's stuck in the rat race, and just give themselves the opportunity to, live the life of their dreams. So I chose you to be my first guest because you chose a very particular lifestyle, which is like exactly what I'm scared of. And nowadays, when I'm feeling more courageous to go into my fear, I felt like I wanted to talk with you about it, about loneliness and solitude and embarking on your life's journey, living the life of your dreams, and facing all the challenges on the way. So take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Stace.
Okay, well, presently I'm in Thailand right now. I've been here almost a month, and I just was back in Canada this last Christmas for 2 months. So it was my first winter back home since 2011, so over 10 years. Like I said, I didn't come home before that for 4 years, and before that I was gone away from home for 7 years. Right now I'm in Asia. I came here in January. I started out in Vietnam. I did a month in North Vietnam. I went to Malaysia for a bit, and then I went up through Thailand and did all the south of Thailand for 2.5 months, got a couple of visa extensions. Then I left and went to Cambodia for 2 months, just finished that up. And now I've come back to Vietnam to do Thailand to do the north of it. And then I will be going back to Vietnam. So I'm excited about that. And that's what I'm going to be doing here in the middle of September. So that'll put me till about Christmas time or so.
So I feel that people who just heard about all of your travels from years, there might be two different reactions. Either it sounds awesomely exciting or truly overwhelming for some people. So overall, how much time did you spend outside of home? I mean, Canada is home, but it's Not
Well, no,
really.
it's not my home anymore. I'm homeless. I always tell people I'm a happy home. I'm the homeless person. I don't have a home. My home is where I'm at right now. My home is where I'll be next week. I do not have a home. I have a mailing address in Canada. I use my mom's address, to get my credit cards and bank cards and, if anything like that. But I mean, no, I do not have a home. I don't have anything in storage. I don't have anything like back to go to. I do not have an apartment. I sold my condo. I sold my house. I sold everything. I had multiple garage sales. I gave away the rest to charity, basically. And then whatever was left, I took to the dump. I do not own anything. Basically, I have what I have on me, a carry-on suitcase, a backpack, and one other little bag. I have a really expensive mountain bike to hang it out at my friends in Guatemala. And I have a big duffel bag at my friend that owns a hotel in Colombia where I stayed
And
during
these
COVID.
are all your possessions.
Yeah, that's my whole existence. That's everything I own. It's basically a duffel bag that I don't have on me, a nice mountain bike in Guatemala, and then a carry-on and a backpack that I have right now. And it didn't start out that way. It was funny because when I was younger, I was in my 20s and I started out young. I first started out, I was making a lot of money on the internet. This is the year 2000, so this was a long time ago. I'm 46 now. This is when I was like 20 years old. I was making good money on the internet when it first came out, like $15,000-$20,000 a month when I was 20. And I bought a big, huge house. I had a 7,000 square foot house, 7 bedrooms when I was 20 years old. My whole family lived with me, my sister, my mom, my brother. I had the whole family. I had renters in the basement. And I started out big. That was like the first thing that I bought after renting, And then it's funny because over the years I had that house and then I downsized to a 2-bedroom condo with a den. And then I lived in that for 4 years. And then I downsized to a 1-bedroom condo. And then I got rid of that. And then that's when I left Canada. And now I live in hostels and I don't even own anything. So it's weird. I started out young, the way most people build up their whole lives towards. I started with that and then I've been downsizing, going the opposite way from a young age and finding out simpler is better, less is better, not having debt, not having, having more freedom is more important than anything.
So this is what I find so unique about your journey, because you really decided to do something so different from what is expected of us, because we start up young, we start making some money, and you were making a lot of good money, especially
too much money for a young person. I wish, back then I look at it now, I'm like, I was young and dumb, It's just like making too much money and not knowing what to do with it because you don't have the wisdom to handle and manage it properly. So anyways, it was a life lesson. All good.
So, I came across your account about, I want to say 2 years ago, and I love the way how you showed your travels in a non-pretentious way. You had a very raw approach to documenting your journey. The food, the scenery, the culture, everything was so raw and real. I really felt like I was on the streets with you in classes where you teach kids to speak, in the food festivals with you. And I feel like I was attracted to your own experience and your journey throughout all these countries because, you had this unique voice about you. And I feel like nowadays you see more and more people speaking more authentically about their life experience. I think there's a major call to just wake up because lots of us really feel trapped in the rat race, and those of us who choose to speak up, everybody speaks about acquiring your freedom, whether it's emotional freedom, financial freedom. And sometimes in the process of chasing that freedom, that dream life, we either find ourselves alone at some patch of the way, or we're simply afraid of it, of being alone. And, today it's you and I here on the podcast, and I'm the person that really scares of being alone. You're a person that actually chose it. You actually decided to narrow your life down into a suitcase and just embark on your own journey. And well, first that comes to mind, first question is, do you feel that you're currently living your dream life? Are you satisfied?
Yes. I think I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, okay, what else? But then what else am I going to do? I'm like, what am I going to go back to Canada? Sometimes I feel bad. I feel guilty. I feel a little bit guilty, because, my grandma's 85 years old. Thank God I got to visit her when I was back there. I went and spent 10 days with her. I went to her. I watched her curling. We went out to the old seniors' night dinner with all our friends. I miss stuff like that, like connecting more with my family and the people that I love with. That's the only thing that I do miss. And I have my only niece and nephew. When I was back in 2018, when I hadn't been home in 7 years, my sister, like, because all of us kids, there's 5 of us. None of us are married. None of us have had kids. So, and I felt guilty back in 2018. That's one of the main reasons I went back home, is because I had my only nephew, and I hadn't even met him yet, and he was born. So I'm like, okay, I gotta go back. So I went back, and he was a little baby at the time. So then I came back, and I went away for 4 years, and all of a sudden now, just when I went back the last time, he's now 4 years old. I've only met him once at a barbecue when he was a little baby, and I held him in my arms. My family and things like that are growing up. My dad's getting old. My mom's getting old, and I'm basically not connected with them. I talk with them all the time in Messenger and Instagram and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm not with them, like seeing them on a weekly basis. Like months and years go by. Like, I mean, that's, I would say, the only downfall for me, for somebody that travels as long as I do.
So what was the pivoting point in your life that led you to, put everything in a suitcase, sell all your shit, and just, go for it?
Okay, well, to be honest with you, one of the main reasons is freaking Canada. It's so freaking cold, and I was so sick of it.
So sometimes it's just a simple reason.
10 years I was living in Canada. I was making money online. One time, I'm just like, I'm sick of this stuff. I was cooped up in my apartment, and it was so cold out, and I'm just like, there's got to be a better way. And then I started looking online, like travel videos, I think on YouTube or something. And I thought with Costa Rica, for some reason, Costa Rica came to mind. That's the first place that I went. So I'm like, I'm going to go to Costa Rica and go check this out and see if it's for me. And I did a couple like exploratory trips. So, I went there, and I wasn't like selling all my stuff yet. I went away, I think, for 6 months. I would spend like 3 months on one side of the country and went all throughout, and then spent another 3 months. So I was there 6 months, and that's what got me the taste of it.
So you still didn't know at the time that you're going to, embark
No,
on
I just knew I wanted to go traveling. I
journey.
wanted to get away from this cold, and I'm like, I'm making money online. I could be anywhere in the world as long as I have internet. Like, I need to go check this out. I think the cost of living is probably a lot less. It'd be a different environment, a different vibe, different energy. I'm like, I'm gonna go check this out because this is getting old, man. Like this cold. So that's what I did. I went to Costa Rica, and then when I got a taste for it, I was living like the beach life, and I was living in the jungle and all these different environments and volcanoes. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. So that's when I went back. And then I went back. I think I stayed home for maybe like a few more months. And that's when I sold everything, did all the garage sales, made my plans to like get the hell out of Dodge and get rid of it, unload everything, and like basically detach from all my belongings that were like weighing me down and keeping me connected there. And then I went back. Yeah. And then I left after that.
So what I'm hearing is that in order to maintain the lifestyle that you have right now, you need to have a certain amount of discipline, to maintain your business, to stay available for your customers while you still get to enjoy the life of your dreams,
Well, yeah, otherwise it'd be selfish and reckless and irresponsible to do it. I mean, if I had a team of people that I trusted and built it up, but I've developed this business too. If you can tell, I'm the person that is obsessed with not having things tying me down. And that's why I have this business too. I could build it 5-10 times bigger than I want. But then you know what that means? Either I have to be a slave and work all the time, or I have to hire a bunch of people. And I don't want to be a manager. I don't want to be responsible for employees. I don't want to feel guilty if I have to let them go. I don't want to have to fire people. I'm very like, I do not like anything. I like my total freedom. So for me to grow my business, I would have to bring in a bunch of people, and I don't want to do that. I would rather make much less and have no strings and things weighing me down and have total freedom and be responsible for me, myself, and I than, build a huge empire of millions of dollars, but have 20, 30 people working under me. That's just not me. I don't want to do that. It's more important for me to make less money and live simple and keep it by myself and contained. That's just me. Some people want to build this big empire. They want glory. They want fame. They want, it's their ego or whatever it is. They want to, whatever. Me, I don't care. I like to keep it simple, and I like to keep it so I have less stress. I can go to bed at night. I don't need to worry about stuff. So as much as I can do that.
So you learned how to contain your business and how to manage it so it stays.
Basically manage it and be like a one-man band. And anything that I do need help with, I can outsource on a piece-by-piece basis. I don't need to take on people that, I'm responsible or obligated to them. Like, okay, I need you to do this. Okay, I can hire you for a short-term project. Boom, we're done. And then it's like, it's kind of like piecework, like a contractor type thing, if I do need help. But I'm kind of obsessed because I have so much time. For the most time, I like to do stuff myself. I like to learn stuff. And because I have the freedom and the time to do it, I'll just kind of do it myself, because I like to know and get, like, that's one thing over the internet too, is over all these years, is I've picked up a lot of skills, like graphic design, all this, that. I know a lot of stuff about everything, and I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now if I didn't have a broad knowledge of so many things. And or if I can't do it, sometimes it's not worth it. I'm like, hey, it's just not worth it. Someone else is willing to do it better than me and then do it for like so cheap. It's ridiculous for me to stress myself about this. But that, for the most part, I really do like to do everything myself if I can, as long as it's like, it doesn't take up too much time or it's not going to be like this huge learning curve. Yeah.
Well, I'm a learner as well. I really love learning new stuff. I'm also a control freak, so I don't
too.
really like, I don't really like delegating my stuff to other people. Although, God bless, too. I would love having a team one day. But I feel like the main thing that really keeps people from reaching into their dream life and really grabbing it by whatever needs to be grabbed is discipline. Discipline is the hardest thing to work on, because then you're facing yourself and you basically need to learn to manage yourself, be your own manager, be your own boss. And how do you find the energy within you? Like, what is it that you tell yourself daily that really keeps you on track, that really pushes you to expand and explore more and grow within your business and become better and really show up for yourself and your customers every day?
Well, I'm a very ambitious person to begin with. Ever since I was young, like I said, when I was 14, I bought my first vehicle or whatever. It was a little scooter motorbike thing. I worked all summer, drywalling houses with my dad. I gave up my whole summer off from school. 2 months I worked 10 hours a day, like holding up drywall sheets just so I could have a scooter. Like that's when I was like 13. So the day I turned 14, like my birthday is on Christmas Eve. So obviously I can't go get my driver's license on Christmas Eve because it's closed. But literally like the December 26th or no, after Boxing Day, December 27th, I was getting my license on my motorbike, already everything ready. So ever since I'm young, and even when I was in high school, I did the same thing when I turned 16 for my car. I had money saved. I already had the car waiting for the day when it opened. I got my license. So I've always been young. And when I was in high school too, I knew that I was not going to go to college. I just knew, I'm like, I'm going to start a business. There's no way I'm going to go and pay top dollar and go in debt to train myself, basically become a slave and go work for somebody else. I've never been good with having bosses ever. I cannot stand people telling me what to do. Especially not to sound egotistical or narcissistic or anything, but I just know like not half the time, almost every time people's my boss, I'm smarter than them. And it just literally just annoys the hell out of me that someone else is telling me what to do when I know more than them. So it's just like, it's not going to work for me. I'm just like, no, I have to be my own boss. So even when I was young, I've always been motivated. And you know what I mean? To do whatever it takes to not have to get a job. Oh my God, a job. Like I've only had a job, like I'm 46. I just turned 46. I've only had a job 5 years of my life total.
Wow.
And it was, after I graduated from high school, I was a bike courier. Like, delivering packages. But even then I was independent. I could smoke a little weed. I could listen to my Walkman, and I would just drive around, rip around, smoking weed and listen to my music and delivering packages. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like my own boss and riding my bike around. I was getting exercise. So I did that for 2 years. It's funny. That's how I got on the internet more too. And that's another story. I broke my collarbone and got someone opened their door. I crashed. I broke my collarbone. I was home for 6 months during workers' comp. I broke my collarbone here. And that would have enabled me to get paid while I was staying at home. And this is right in the infancy of the internet. So I was getting paid to stay at home, and I got a taste of staying home and making money and not having to work. I'm like, oh my God, and the internet was just coming out. I'm like, I gotta do whatever.
Caught up with digital.
I gotta do whatever it takes. I gotta be able to make money online. I have to. I don't want to go back to my job. I'm risking my life every day. There's people driving through red lights. There's buses almost running me over. I'm like, for what? $800 every 2 weeks. So I only had a job there like 2 years of my life. That was my first job. Besides working with my dad a little bit, like I told you, during the summer when I was younger, doing jobs to save money. But I mean, a job with a boss that I had to go to at 8 and go home at 5, like the 9 to 5. That was my first job. And then back when I was 26 till I was 29 for 3 years, I had to go back. That's another whole story. I was working online for 6 years, but then I had to go back to a job for 3 years after working online for 6 years. So that's what I was telling you when I was making all that big money, that $15,000, $20,000. I made that kind of money for half a decade. And then I had to go to a job for $3,000 a month and work like full time. And oh my God, it was one of the worst things ever. For 3 years, I was going through hell. I had to go back and be like a normal person again and go to work. I've basically been on the internet. I was selling stuff on the internet. I'm not even like, I don't know why I'm not a billionaire, I'm telling you, because I was selling stuff on the internet like before Google even existed, like 4 or 5 years before Google even existed. I was selling stuff
That's
when I was
insane.
a little kid on the internet. And I was selling little reports and books and CD-ROMs. You could start your own little like publishing business and stuff. I was selling them through the mail, and then when the internet came out,
You
I
were
was starting
like
to sell
the
them.
dawn of digital marketing.
The dawn of the internet. I'm telling you, I was trying to sell stuff online and take credit cards 5 years before Google even existed in this world. So
listen,
yeah, it's like.
First of all, I love it that you're a go-getter. That you've been a go-getter since a very young age, and it's just amazing how your face lit when you explained about the drive that you had, as a young kid going through, through high school, and just you knew it. You knew it that you wanted to live like a free person, outside of the rat race, not have bosses. And this is what this is about, like we're talking about maintaining our freedom, really breaking free from the chains, of having to be somebody's slave, of slaving away our life, spending year after year, just living for the weekends when we get to enjoy a little bit time with friends and family, and
that's not living, that's just surviving. That's not thriving. That's just surviving, getting by, going through the motions. That is not living, man. That is not living. That's not the way humans are meant to be. It doesn't spark the creativity. You know what I mean? It's just like basically you're a cog in this machine doing the same thing over again. It's depressing. And I always seen, I had the type of vision from a young age. I saw, I'm like, this is not the life for me. I don't want to work 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And then maybe I get a little piece of pie at the end when I can barely walk and I can't even enjoy my life anyways because I can't even move. And you're old, and you know what I mean? Like, I gotta wait till I'm 65 before I can actually enjoy life and do stuff. I'm like, no, I gotta get started now, man. There's a whole life to this. So I knew that from the beginning. And then I just did whatever it took. So it took in the beginning. Yes, I've failed many times. That's another thing too. Like to get in this life, it took me like persistence, determination, diligence, discipline, all those things. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like out of like 20 things that I start or try, literally like 15 or 16 of them fail. They might start a little bit and they fizzle out, or they work awesome and then they crash and burn. And it's always I've literally done like 20 different things online all these years, and some things last many years, some things last a few months. That's the thing about being online too. You have to be willing to adapt, and you have to be on the ball. You have to see what's going on, what's going on, what's coming down the pipe, and get on like certain trends and things like that. Because just because something's cool, right? Something that's hot right now and you're making good money with it, like literally 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it's like almost a generation. It's different. You know what I mean? It's completely different. So that's another thing. You have to be willing to like not get so attached to things too. Like say you do start a business and it starts out well and it goes good for a few years. You have to be willing to transition into something else and adapt to like the changing times and that too.
You'll have to develop a certain amount of resilience if you want to lead this kind
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, every once in a while you get a home run and you have a brand that like, stands the test of time, and you get lucky that way, or your work, it depends on the industry you're in. But a lot of times if you're doing stuff like that, it's like sometimes it's seasonal too. It's like big during, like Christmas, that, and then half of the year it's not. So you have to have something else. That's another thing too, is having multiple streams of income. You know what I mean? Yeah. Always like getting things down, coming down the pipe set up, so that like, that's what I would do too. Like redundancy, you know what I mean? Where you built up, like that's one thing I've learned too, is like, just because this is going good, do not think that you're going to be coasting to like the glorious future. Because I'm telling you, 1 year from now, Google changes the algorithm, they wipe you out. A competitor comes in and undercuts you from India and cuts you by like your price by 50%. It happens all the time. So you have to be totally like on the ball and willing to adjust and as necessary, and always be starting like new projects and have backup plans, A, B, C, D, things like that.
So that
otherwise you're going to get screwed.
That really requires you to have this growth mindset. To always being willing to adapt, to learn something new, not to fall asleep in your guard, but always look for opportunities to grow, to expand, to become better, to become wiser within your business. So, tell me more about that. Like, what would a person that really wants to embark on their life journey, break free from the shackles, start traveling the world, like, what would you suggest them in order to start building this growth mindset. Like what would they have to um, change about their personality in order to make that happen?
Well, you definitely have to have a sense of adventure. You have to crave adventure, and you have to be okay and comfortable with new surroundings. Because if you're traveling all the time, the culture, the differences, you know what I mean, the customs, everything's different. So if you're like a real cozy homebody person that loves your couch and your blankie, and you know what I mean, you don't like to like live outside your shell, it's probably not going to be for you, because sometimes you have to rough it. You know what I mean? You get dropped off in an unexpected location. You have to lug your 100 pounds of luggage to 35-degree heat kilometers across the city. You know what I mean? And there's I'm just giving. There's all these. I can give you 100 different examples. Like, you have to be willing to roll with it too. You know what I mean? And be able to
Be prepared and be ready to adapt.
You have to be determined, and you have to be like, you cannot be a wussy, you cannot be a princess, you cannot be like a pampered type person. Unless you're multi-millionaire, you're rich, and you're gonna have an entourage, and you're a celebrity, and you're gonna get like chauffeured around or something like that. But no, the life that I live, no, you're roughing it, man. Sometimes the AC doesn't work in your thing. Well, you better figure it out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and if you're the type of person that's gonna just totally lose it because of like one of these little things, it's probably not for you either. So you're gonna have to have courage, have adaptability to different situations, and you have to be able to willing to go outside your comfort zone for sure. You have to, but over time it gets easier though. Like, to me, nothing phases me now. It's just like, man, because I'm dealt with so many things and everything. Nothing gets me upset. Nothing gets me riled up. Even most people in the beginning, because it's such a different from the Western world and what they're used to, all the conveniences and all the things, and you know what I mean. That's the only thing I would say is it takes a special type of person. It's not for everybody. A lot of people think that's what they want to do, but they think that, you know what I mean. They're thinking like the luxury resort lifestyle. Like they go to Mexico and they go to an all inclusive and they sit by the pool and they get served drinks and they have like, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's a vacation. That's not traveling. That's a vacation. You do it for a week or two and then you go back to your life. That's not what I do. I do that once a year whenever my mom visits me. That's one bonus about my mom visiting. She goes big. She goes to 5-star. So once a year, I can look forward to living like the 5-star lifestyle with the all-inclusive buffets and everything like that. So I look forward to that, and that's all I need I wouldn't want to be living like that, because the life I live right now too, I love the people that I meet, the humble people, the interesting people, the people that are like, riding their bike from Alaska to like the tip of South America on their bike, just the cool people that you meet, the stories and everything like that. When you're staying at these resorts, you don't meet people like that. You just meet like people that are like, you know what I mean? They're like, they're escaping the reality.
I feel like
I meet travelers. I meet people from all around the world.
I feel like travelers tend to connect more with one another and really, open up to one another. Yeah. Like, it's a different kind of traveling. You get to know people on a whole different level because they're not locked in this kind of bubble, even you that you're traveling alone, you still get to meet so many cool people on your way and see a lot of the culture in every place that you visit in a different way.
Well, that's why I wouldn't want. That's why a lot of times I don't stay in hotels, or I meet the average people. Like, sometimes I meet local people that are like working here. Well, sometimes I meet people they're doing this. They're a traveling band, or they're an artist, or this or that. You don't get that type of people when you stay in private rooms. You said about the lonely thing. You just go in your room, you close your door, and then you're sitting there in front of your TV or your computer, and you're basically by yourself. Whereas, like, in the hostels, you're meeting people in a common setting. So oh, hi, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Germany. Oh, I'm from Norway. I'm from this. So it's way more cooler. I choose to live like in these places because I've done the private room. This nice every once in a while, or once a week. I'll get a private room, or if it's a really good deal somewhere, it's the same price as a dorm or whatever, and then I'll do it. It's nice to have a private room sometimes once in a while. And it'd be different. If I had a girlfriend or a wife and I was traveling with them, I'd be getting private rooms all the time because I'd be with them. But when I'm by myself, I don't really care. I'm just like, whatever. But yeah, I found too, like, when you're in private rooms, it's just like a hotel. You're basically lonely at night by yourself. You leave your hotel room, you walk out. It's different when you're in these things. People are cooking in the kitchen. Hey, what are you making? Oh, what's going on? Oh, how you doing? I'd way rather hang out with hostel people than resort people any day. That's just me.
That's amazing to hear. I love it that you get to explore the simplicity of life in such, and in a raw beauty of humanity, because you get to meet people on their journeys like that, and everybody's more open to communication, let's say.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just it's the vibe in hostels too. It's just naturally people are, way more open to just talking and asking where you're from, how you doing, how long you been here, where are you
yeah,
going, oh, what do you do, you know what I mean? Where when you're at a resort, I've literally was at a resort with my mom many times, and there's literally hundreds of people around, and you might, it's like, hey, how you doing? That's about the extent of your deepness of your conversation. And I was there for like a week, and I literally didn't even, I might have met 2 or 3 people, and I know where they're from. Oh, they're from the United States. Oh, they're from here. But like I come to a hostel, it's like I'm here for a week, and I'll literally meet like 20 people and have like much more deeper conversations, and maybe go out to lunch with somebody, or go to like on a day trip with somebody on a boat tour, or go to rent a motorbike together and go to a waterfall. Like it's way more better. I met way more friends doing this than anything that I've ever had at a hotel or a resort.
yeah.
Just me.
So, I'm the kind of person that I don't care for luxury. I could do in like very tough conditions. I could sleep in a hut in the jungle. Like I could, shower in the rain, whatever. It's one challenge that people face when they want to embark on their, nomadic travels, let's say, that it's not as comfortable as you might think. But like I said before, the main issue, or the main fear that I have around traveling alone is specifically the lonely aspect of it. You say that you get to meet a lot of people, but just being alone in between and being in my own kind of world within me it was kind of a challenge for me to accept and to learn to tune into it. And, some time ago, I wrote a post in my blog about the difference between loneliness and solitude. I wrote that loneliness has a hollow echo in the depths of our hearts. It feels like a yearning for unfulfilled connection. And solitude, on the other hand, is a refugee for our souls, a space of introspection and self discovery. So, I want to hear about your experience with loneliness and solitude in your travels. I'm guessing that you experienced both, and I want to know how and why is it so important to know how to be with yourself and to enjoy your own presence.
Okay, well, yes, I do experience both. There's before I came, I was living alone in my own apartment, so I'm very used to like living by myself and being taking care of myself. But for a big part of my travels from the beginning to up until 2018, right before I went home the first time in 7 years, I was gone for 7 years, and we had lived in Mexico, traveled all through Central America and Costa Rica. I actually had a girlfriend. It was my best friend and friend. So I had a travel companion that I was with and living with for the 7 out of the 12 years I'm gone. 7 out of 12. It's only the last 5 years I've been by myself completely, since 2018. So I do miss, that. So there's times where I'm in these moments, I'm seeing all these things that people don't get to see, these awesome waterfalls, or this top of this mountain peak. And I feel like, man, it's like I make my video, I do my thing. That's why I share my stuff. I'm like, it's like sometimes I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, I'm here all by myself. Like this isn't right. This isn't good. I should need to be with somebody else, or I need to be with like my best friend or a girlfriend or my wife. It's just it's a real tragedy. Sometimes I feel like I'm just here doing it, enjoying this all by myself, and other people don't get to experience. So that part of me wishes, like I'm like at certain moments, I'm just like, I really wish I had someone else to
I
like
want
do
to
a
share all
selfie.
this beauty with somebody
Yeah, I
else.
want to share this. Like, I'm here and I went through this huge journey. I made it all the way here. Bus, train, plane, boat, tuk-tuk, gondola up on the top of a mountain, and a Buddha statue above the clouds. And it's like, I'm the only one here that's like thinking this is cool. Like this is
Did
such a
you see
waste. And
that?
not such a waste. Yeah, I know. And it's kind of like, I wish I was like with like someone that I love, or you know what I mean, some friends or something like that, and we could all enjoy it together and share the moment. That's kind of like the only thing too. A lot of times I see a lot of cool stuff and I go to a lot of places, and it's like I'm thinking, like, this is all just for me. This is all just for me. It's like, you know what I mean? I'm thinking about like my family, I'm thinking of my friends, I'm thinking about people, and things like that. So that's the only thing that, sometimes being lonely. But then there's other moments where it's like, yeah, I'm just glad I'm by myself. You know what I mean? Because I don't have to deal with people's drama. That's another thing too. When I get back to Canada and I talk to people, sometimes people are always trying to pull me into their drama. It's like, I have to go to the other side of the world because I don't want to deal with negativity. I don't want people to like, all that stuff. And they try to drag me and get me in the middle of it. Oh, get on my side, get on my side. But, I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that. But so sometimes at moments like that, I'm so glad I'm alone and I'm detached and disconnected, because it's like I see this shitstorm brewing and they're all caught in the middle of it. And I look at it from afar. And I'm just like, no, thank you. Like, I'm enjoying my life. And then I go look around, I'm like, I'm going to go ride my motorbike to a waterfall today and have peace and be out in nature. And then they're there fighting, the most stupid things. So for that aspect, there's a lot of pros. There's a lot of pros to being alone. Not having to deal with people's negative stuff. The drama I just cannot stand, and the frivolous, the fighting, you know what I mean? All that stuff, it just, yeah.
So what do you get to understand about yourself or explore about yourself when you're in your solitude, when you're away from the drama, when you have that, that space for yourself?
Oh, I get that's one thing I'm big about is absolute gratitude every day. I'm just like, I pinch myself. I'm like, how the heck do I get to do this? Like, it's just too good to be true. You know what I mean? It's like every day I never wake up to an alarm. I woke up to an alarm today because I wanted to make sure I was awake for the podcast. It was early and I didn't want to sleep and I had to do some preparation. But most of the time I go to bed whenever the heck I'm tired. If I want to have a nap at 2 in the afternoon and sleep till 5 in the afternoon, I do it. If I want to stay up till 3 in the morning watching documentaries, I do it. I do whatever, whenever I want. So I'm in that way. I'm so lucky because I don't have to you know what I mean, fit a schedule, and I just go with it. Whatever I feel like, I eat when I want, I go when I want. So I'm always grateful for the things I get to do, and I just think about it. I always people that I meet traveling, and I see the lives they live. Like, oh, this little shop owner, and they're selling corn. And I'm like, this is their whole life. This is their existence, 12 hours a day, every day. They never get to leave. And if they do this every day, they can buy just enough food to feed their daughter or feed their kid, but that they're stuck in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they have this very limited understanding of the world. They don't get to explore different cultures. They don't get to go on airplanes. They don't get to travel. And I'm thinking, God, am I ever blessed? I make money while I sleep. I get to go to places all the time. I'm never bored. I constantly go on adventures. So I'm so grateful. Like, when I'm by myself, sometimes I'm just in awe. I'm like, wow, what did I do to deserve this? This is such a blessing. That's why I'm so grateful. That's why I try to get back. I do my little teachings, and I'm making these little kids videos now, even though I'm not going to need anything. I put in 20 hours of work. I didn't make 1 cent, and I probably won't make a cent off of those. I don't care. I have the free time, and it makes me feel good that I know I'm doing something. And I don't have my own kids that I need to care for, and I don't have my own family. So if I can make little videos and help some kids learn English here and there and whatever, so little things like that, I like to get back a little bit and do what I can, just with my time and stuff like that.
I love it. I love it how your eyes just light up when you talk about, about your passion and about the fact that you built this life with your own hands, Stace. You actually built a life of your dreams. And I really want to know more about your travels, because you get to be exposed to humans, and all their beauty all around the world. You get to see so many cultures, and you started teaching classes for children. I want to hear more about that. What led you to be there, and to be there for these kids and, help them with their education?
Well, I did. The first time I got involved in any type of education, it was back in 2013. I was doing a house sit and living in the Caribbean island Roatan, and there was a school there. They're looking for volunteers, and me and my girlfriend volunteered to be teachers there. And I did that for almost a month. We went there every day, and I got a taste of it, and I really, really, really liked it. And then another time there, they had a thing. Back then, I was a little more overweight. I've lost like 70 pounds from my fattest I was many, many years ago. After I broke up with my girlfriend in 2018, I used to run 10, 15 kilometers a day for 2, 3 years. I lost like 50 pounds. I was basically, healing my heart through running and stuff. So, and I listened to my music to take my mind off it. It was a very hard time for me. And that's when I was living in Guatemala. So that's another whole long story. But before that, when I was in Roatan, I was really much bigger, and they needed a kid. There was kids there, like it was an orphanage, and people with kids with HIV and AIDS. And there was a Christmas special they had. They needed someone to dress up as Santa and give the kids their presents and stuff. And that really meant a lot to me too, to dress up as Santa and give all these kids that were infected with HIV and AIDS on the island. But a lot of there's stigma and people don't want to go near them. They think they're going to catch it, things like that. So just being able to have them sit on my lap, give them hugs, and make them laugh and give them happiness, that really, that kind of gave me a taste of, like, you doing things for like charity stuff like that. So that's kind of where I first started. That was back in 2013. And then, yeah, I was here in Cambodia. I volunteered at a school. And then now I thought, okay, well, I can't do this all the time because I'm only in the area for a limited time. So I thought, and then I did it again in another part of Cambodia. That's why I kind of thought these ideas for these videos. I'm like, well, I could, do these videos and then they're there. So then a lot of people can benefit from them and I don't have to be there. You know what I mean? That's another thing where I'm thinking, what's better use of my time? I could make videos like this. And then once I'm there, I could, volunteer for a day, teach them English, and like tell the teacher, oh, by the way, I have a whole series of kids videos or whatever. If you go to this YouTube channel, you can watch them at your own leisure. You can rewatch them. You can, practice. You can tell your friends and family. Way more people could be exposed long after I'm gone by doing the videos. I thought that was more efficient use of my time. I could do the work once, even if it takes me 5-6 hours to make a video. Potentially a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, hundreds of people could be benefiting from it over the long term, long after I was gone. That'd be like my what I left for them kind of thing. And they could tell their yeah. So I thought that would be better too. That's a way for me to keep helping people and me not physically being there. By then I might be on the other side of the world, but they could still be benefiting from my videos that I made one Saturday afternoon 2 years ago. They could still be learning stuff and helping them.
So how does it feel to be in a class with children and to provide?
Oh, that's amazing. These kids, the kids are so humble here. I don't know what it's like. I just know that it wouldn't be the same in the kids in the United States and Canada. I just know the way the kids are now and stuff. They'd be playing on their phones. They'd be disrespecting. They'd be taking things for granted. The kids here in these countries are so humble. They're so sweet. They're so cute. They're so friendly. They're like, they're so excited to see you.
What do you think that makes the difference?
Well, a lot of them, they don't have phones, man. They're not they don't have TVs. They're not like influenced to this culture and stuff, this toxic culture, man. They're wholesome. And I was out in a rural area too, so I'll give it credit to so it's not only are you in a poor country, you're in a rural area of a poor country. So I'm sure if you go to Canada, United States, and you go to a country school out in the middle of the country, like in a farm school, they'd probably be different than in the big city, obviously. But here more so, like even in the city, the kids here are like better than the farm kids back in the Western world. So you go to a rural area in a poor country like here, and it's just they're just so excited to see you. They're so grateful. They're all smiling. You can just tell they're glowing hearts. They're really, really, really so happy to see you. And they're excited. They treat you like a celebrity, and they just love you and stuff.
I feel when you have less opportunity around you, you get to really be grateful for whatever kind of opportunity that comes, to help you get out of your life circumstances, to build up on it, to expand yourself. So I feel that these kids maybe are more open to feeling grateful.
Absolutely.
They're
not taking anything for granted. You can tell, these kids have nothing. They have muddy, they don't even have paved roads. Where the school was at, they don't even have paved roads. Like they're walking in mud to go to school and stuff. And, like there's chickens roaming around and goats and stuff. Like these kids don't have anything. You can tell their clothes are like hand me down, hand me down, hand me down. Their shoes have holes in them. These people don't have money. They don't have. So for me to come out there all the way and make my own time and drive my scooter and spend time with them, to them that they just know they have this great gratitude, man. And it's so nice to see down there like that. So I'm love to spend my time with kids like that are not taking things for granted and being disrespectful or not appreciative and things like that. And it's one thing I've learned in these countries too. Like I've lived in Guatemala, I've seen all these poor people. I'm convinced, man, the less people have, the better people that they become. And I'm just seeing it. The more material things and things that are done for you, like conveniences of life, the more people go, oh, somebody does this, somebody does my dishes, somebody cleans my house, somebody cuts my lawn.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, man, as your character and as a person, not always, but in general, people that have less and have to work harder and get less for it are actually better people. Because, you know what I mean? They're way more generous. They're actually more generous. I found the people that have nothing are the most generous people than the people that have so much. They're the most stingiest, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It seems backwards. It's counterintuitive of what you think, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like so, I see people here, they have nothing. They have a lot of them have wooden sticks. When I was living in Guatemala, they don't even have gas stoves or electricity. They're going collecting wooden sticks from the fields to make their corn tortillas for the day. They have mud floors. They don't even have proper roofs. And you know what? They're the nicest people, like, you know what I mean, ever. You know what
And
I
you
mean?
feel
They
that they're
work
more
hard.
connected to one another
Yeah, they're way
within the
more
community.
community oriented too. So their community, they're way more connected to their community. See, everybody in the Western world is more independent, and they're on like enclosed lifestyle. Oh, hi neighbor, but it's so fake. Here, it's actually like they need each other, so they're way more interconnected and depend on each other. So I like that. I like that part too. There's way more community. It's way more family based here. Like kids, that, you know, every Sunday and every evening they go to the Central Park. The families are way more connected with their kids. They're not so busy living these lifestyles, working these jobs, or chasing. So I find that the harder people work, the least amount of stuff they have, the more that they are like actually like humanity. The more human they are, of like the values of like traditional old school stuff, family, community, hard work. You know what I mean, like that. Where it's like these things in the Western world we take for granted, the technology and all the things we have. None of these people here are taking, their pill popping, the antidepressant pills. They're not going to the casino and going gambling. They're not like, things like that, where it's like the Western world, supposedly we should all be happy. We all got new iPads, iPhones, we got new houses, we got new cars, we got good jobs, but yet everybody's like alcoholics and broken marriages, and they're, gambling addicts and porn addicts. They're taking drugs, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I don't know.
The freedom of the digital world brought a lot of challenges. Our society. It's like I said, I feel like we're more detached than ever, although we're supposed to be so interconnected, with the internet and stuff. So, you as a traveler that visited so many countries, some of them are, third world countries when people don't have a lot in their lives, we still manage to live freely and happily, and do things right and really stay connected to each other and have a sense of community and a sense of family. And they really respect the values of life, of being there for each other, being there for your loved ones, showing up for yourself as well. What did you learn in your travels, seeing how these communities work within themselves, and what would you bring to, let's say, our world to improve on our society?
Okay, well, one of the first things I would do, I've learned too, like I've become less materialistic and more content with things that you have, not being like such a princess or a prince. I need this, I need that. Really, really getting down to earth and getting down to back to the basics of not what you want, but what you actually really need, and being okay with it and being content and grateful in all things, you know what I mean? Like when things don't go your way, not having a hissy fit, not losing your shit, things like that. Learning, being able to be like, roll with the punches, go with the flow, and adapt the situation and not be so needy. And you know what I mean? Materialistic. That's the main thing that turns me off of Western world. Why I never want to go back is the constant need for material things, the latest, the greatest, the newest, the best, trying to outdo everybody, trying to show off. Like you mentioned earlier before in my travel videos, where it's like, I know most travel videos the way they are. It's like the lux travel. It's all about like, you got to stay in like the Four Seasons hotel. You got to have the best view. You got to, like, traveling is only cool if you can like have the best of the best. And that's baloney. You don't get to experience stuff like that. So I think that that's why my travel, I'm just like, I just do it raw. I just do it whatever. You know what I mean? I try to show with the way it is in reality, not the tarnished and, created or whatever, photoshopped, image types. I can't stand that shit. I hate fake stuff where the people give this, this false image of what reality is, and that I just cannot stand. I like being true and being, raw and real. I cannot stand being fake. So I would say the main thing is like not being so attached to material things and going in debt to get them, because that's another form of slavery, right? If you're in debt to all these things too, your options get limited. You know what I mean? All you're doing is making these big banks money. You know what I mean? To have the newest car when you could get by with your own car, having the newest this and that. So the Western world really needs, I think, to learn from these other countries is like living within your means and not trying to like outdo everybody and being a slave to debt. And that's the main thing I would say is like, not being in debt and being okay with buying secondhand clothes, like maybe not getting that upgrade, for another year, like things like that. But they make it so easy in our world. It's like you always got to like payment plans and debt. They're always luring that whole consumer society to always
Yeah.
live beyond your means and always do that, because that's what makes the corporations rich. You know what I mean? That's not in the best interest. So that's one thing I've learned too in these four countries is nobody has new cars, nobody's going on debts, nobody has new washers and dryers, nobody has new flat screen TVs, iPads. They're getting like iPhone 6s, like they're getting hand me down multiple generations. But you know what? These people are way more happier. I see them like, so it just shows like having the newest stuff does not make you happy, more content as a person. It does. It doesn't, man. I've seen it time and time again. The people that have less are the people that are the most friendliest. That, you know what I mean? I find the people that always got to have the newest, latest, greatest, and this and that, and they're willing to go in debt and all this. They're the people that are most miserable. They're never happy. You know what I mean?
I
Because
feel
they're
like
always got to.
I feel like, it's the 21st century outside. It's a digital world, and we live in a society when we just kind of choke our emotions down and our fears and our traumas by just accumulating lots of stuff, like buying shit to just, suppress our feelings. That's why we live in a society that really pushes us to be, consumers. Like, consume this and that. This will make you feel better. That will make you feel better. And I feel like the main difference between here and there where you're at is that in our society, we're very much expanding outward. We're buying stuff. We're buying books and we're buying shit that we don't need. And where you're at, people are more focused inwards to the values and beliefs that they have about life. They're more facing the raw aspects of life, and its simplicity. And they're not looking for, stuff to to just close up some holes in their souls.
Well, yeah, because that stuff never ends. It's like being on a hamster wheel, right? You constantly always have to get your validation and you get your worth through accumulating things. It never ends. You're like the consumer. It's like a machine that just completes needs to be fed. Whereas like right now, I'm doing mine's all about experiences and perspectives. And I live my life for freedom. Yeah, freedom to do what I want, when I want, who I want, go where I want, and to get up when I want, eat when I want. That's what it's all about for me. Material things, I have the basics of life. There's certain things you need. Don't get me wrong. I like my technology. I got my new iPhone. I got my new iPad. I got to have certain things because that's my business. So that's the only things that I am like have material attachment to. But that's my life. It's my business. These are my tools. That's it. I gave up having a car a long time ago. My license expired in Canada over 10 years ago, and I have no intention of ever renewing it because the countries that I go to, you don't need a driver's license. They don't even ask. I've rented a scooter 50 times in Thailand and Cambodia and all around in Vietnam. And you don't even have to show your driver's license. You just hand in your passport. So I don't have a need for a driver's license. So I'm never planning on going back to Canada and actually driving a car and being there again. That's never in my plan. So I'll never have a driver's license again. Like, I'm just not going to pay to renew it. It's just not worth it to me. It's unnecessary. So there's things like that.
You're breaking all the chains. Nothing is holding you back.
I was like, no, I'm not. I'm like, no, I don't even want to. I'm not even going to pay $50 to get a license. Why? Because it's unnecessary. I don't need it. I can walk everywhere I am here. I can take buses. I can take trains. I can take tuk-tuks. I can rent scooters. I don't have a need to have a driver's license anymore. My passport I need because I need to.
So you learn to feel comfortable within uncomfortable conditions.
Yeah, what more normal people would think, like, oh my God, that's crazy. It's like, no. Yeah. And you'd actually be surprised. Once you cut that string, you're like, holy crap. It was all on my mind. I didn't need that. I didn't need this thing. Like, that's me living out of my suitcase and getting rid and downsizing. You'd be blown away of how little you actually need to live and get through life.
It's amazing because all that we find uncomfortable, it's just this big illusion. We don't need much to
we don't.
Content within the limitations, and I put limitations in brackets of of the reality of things. We don't need that much to be happy.
No, but I mean, don't get me wrong. It's nice to plum places. Like, I see you have a beautiful place there. You have a nice couch. You got a candle going. You got your pictures. That's a nice place to have. That this could be an asset. It's not necessarily bad to have your own place. Like, because with the advent of Airbnb and all that, if you live in the right city and in the right place, this could be an asset that's producing you income while you're out traveling, giving you a little bit of supplementary income. You know what I mean? If you didn't have a mortgage or something like that, or if you were in an area where you could charge high amounts for Airbnb and you could cover your rent payment and have a surplus, this could be advantageous. That could be one of your income streams. I said diversifying. So it's not all, good to just get rid of everything and have nothing too. Like there's advantage, but you got to be smart about it too. It just depends on your situation
Have
and
a
where you're
plan.
at.
Have a
Yeah,
plan
not
wherever
everything
you're
is
going.
cut dry and black and white. You know what I mean? There's exceptions to everything, right? Of course. There's nothing wrong with having a bunch of rental properties and making a bunch of income.
Do not get rid of all your stuff and go to Alaska, live in a bus, and
no, because you'll end up dying. You can end up dying.
Don't eat the berries.
See, this guy was extreme and he was unprepared. He was not educated. You know what I mean? He obviously didn't have a lot of experience. He had an idea and a dream, but he didn't really plan it out, or he didn't think of. Obviously, you know what I mean. Didn't that guy starve to death out on that bus or something like that? He was out in the middle of nowhere. That went on, gone into the wild or whatever. That's the show you're talking about, right? Into the wild. Exactly. I mean, God bless him. He had good intentions and everything. But
great guy.
Yeah.
So, if you could speak with your younger self and prepare yourself in a better way to what is about to unravel in your life, like what would you say to your younger self?
My younger self, I would be, because when I was younger too, very, very young too, I got in debt. I did the whole thing. You know what I mean? I fell into that whole cycle, racking up the credit cards, living beyond your means. I did all that too. So I would definitely say, do not get into debt. Do not for materialistic things that depreciate in value. If you're going to go in debt and it's like a high potential, like, income producing opportunity, a legit business, something that's going to increase in value and asset, there's, like I said, there's exceptions to every rule. So I would only go into debt for things that are going to like appreciate in value, or things that are going to bring me in more money than what the debt is. And investing in a business, that's it. I would not go in debt to get, new phones, new things, clothes, go on vacation, things like that. And I would start as young as possible to start learning high value income skills that can be, if you want to be like portable like me, learning like, the newest trends. Like right now it's AI, like automate AI, like the AI is big. If you can use AI to help businesses increase productivity and cut expenses and things like that, it's a huge industry. It's like going to be like, it's just like, it's going to be like massive. It's like as big as the internet, this whole AI industry, starting now. I'm already starting to use it. That's what I use in my videos with that little child's voice. That voiceover, that's all AI generated voice. I got the script in Chat GTP generating the scripts. I go over everything. So, using AI is like, for instance, that's the hot thing right now. So I would look like
an opportunity.
Always be on, get your pulse, always have the pulse of what's going on in the world and try to see what's going to be happening down in the future. So you can be on the ball and at the forefront of things. Don't get caught off guard and be like lagging behind. Always be like, hey, what's hot now? What's going on? Well, what can I see? Try to have vision of what's going to be happening like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, and then learn the skills that are going to be necessary that you could be in the front of the pack and ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? Not lagging behind. Well, what just happened here? Oh, the world changed and I didn't even know what happened because you were too caught up in something else. So I would say as a young person to be kind of obsessed with like what's going on in the world, what the world is right now, where it was, where it's headed, and try to have a vision and a knack to be on top of the things like that. So you can always have a cutting edge and be on, things like that. And like I say, not go into debt, absolutely not going into debt, and have, a plan to, but see, when I was younger too, I have a plan of what the lifestyle that you want. Some people want to stay at home. They love their city, and there's nothing wrong with that. They just want to travel a couple times a year, go on vacation. They don't want to travel. I'd say find out what your passions are, obviously, what your skills are, something that's going to motivate you to do this day in and day out. Maybe sometimes when you're not getting paid or when you don't want to do it. So it's something that, that you're hungry for, that you love to do, regardless if you get paid. Because like there's a saying, something like if you do what you love, then the money will follow. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, but if you're doing it just for the money, you're gonna like it's not gonna work too. If you're doing something you hate and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna do it just so I can get paid, it's not gonna last. Or if you're doing something you're passionate about, it's gonna be like, there's another saying too, like if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life, right? So that's what I'd say for young people. That basically not get in debt. Don't get trapped in that consumer debt lifestyle, because that's going to chain you down and limit your options.
Yeah.
Plus, who wants to be paying back loans and things for all your 20s and stuff? It really is stressful too. Then you have to worry. You have to come up with that much more income every month just to keep your head above the water, and it just makes life. It takes away your chances to have more freedom. That's another thing too. The more debt you have, and it stresses you out. So
I feel like it all starts with finding where your passion lies. Like, what kind of life do you want to have? Like, what is your dream life? What is your purpose? Like, what is this thing that you that is going to invigorate you each and every day when you wake up and you go out there into the big world. Like, what do you want to do with the time that you have here? And it's so important not only to have that passion, but to really know where you're headed, have a vision, have a purpose. So I want to ask you, Stace, what is your vision? What do you feel that your life's purpose is?
I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. Like sometimes once you've done it all the time, you know what I mean? It's like, and that's not. So now I'm looking to more like slow down the pace of me going to all these different places. Like I was go, 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 go. I gotta see everything. I gotta go to every hot spot. I gotta go to every waterfall. I gotta go to every temple. I gotta go to every, like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't feel that now that I'm getting a little older. I'm like, no, man, just chill. Like I'm in no rush, just chill. I'm like, I'll go to this, I'll go to that, but I'll take my time. So now more of like, I want to build, like you say, I'm starting these kids videos or some type of thing. I want to do more things that are besides just for myself. I'm feeling like I have all this time, and you know what I mean? It's like, it's only so much. Like I say, when I was at the top of the mountain or I'm at the waterfall and I'm there all by myself, I make a little video, I share it on Instagram or put it on TikTok. Yeah, that's great. But it's like, I want to do stuff now that it's going to have a lasting impact and memory, like long after I'm gone. So I'm not, my focus now as I'm getting older is to build, yeah, you said like a legacy, I think, where it's like, I've done things. So when I die, there's things going on like that.
I love that. Let's dive a little deeper on the kind of impact that you're trying to create. So, what is it that you're trying to change? What is the legacy that you're trying to leave in all the places that you visit? Like, what is the change that you really want to see out there in the world?
Basically, I just want to help people like live a better life, you know, because I see a lot of people how they're just stuck. So I want to do education. I see people that are stuck and then like they're living their whole lives like doing the same thing over again. Like this shopkeeper that'll be doing this. It's like, this is like to them, just seeing them basically do the, you know, everything they can just to survive. So it's like, they're like, you know, selling this, that, and just to get by, just to make it another day, the same thing over and over again. So to me, that's kind of sad. Seeing people that they don't get to really explore life and all that's out there and get to go on adventures like me and see new things, and they're basically living like the same life on repeat. So to me, I would like to do anything I can do to help people like believe in their dreams more, and you know, inspire them to think bigger and think different, you know.
Thank you so much for this conversation. It was incredibly inspiring, and thank you so much for the light that you spread in the world and the kind of change that you're creating out there, the work that you're doing with the kids. I love speaking with people that have a vision and that they're out there to share their light and, you know, be their best selves and their authenticity, shine forward and really uplift the next generation of children. So Stace, thank you so much for coming up today. I'll share some links as well if you want to get to know Stace a little better, see what he does, what kind of lifestyle he lives, get to know more about his business that I'll also share a link to your shop.
Okay.
And yeah, so if anyone wants to know more about how to tap into life's possibilities and get yourself out there, really break free from shackles and start living as you truly want to live in this lifetime on this earth, everybody who needs to find their purpose and are still struggling to realize where is it that they're going are more than welcome to join our journey here in Carried by the Breeze podcast, where we're going to have amazing inspirational guests such as Stace. Stace, again, thank you so much for sharing your experience and showing us that it's possible to just create the life of your dreams with your own hands and, you know, go out there, conquer your biggest of dreams and show up for yourself in such an amazing way. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. You're very welcome. Thank you very much for having me. And I would just tell most people out there, life really is that it's not a cliche. It is short. And
yes, it is.
Live once, and time goes by so fast. You know it's going to be too late. The sooner you get started, the better. Just get going. Fail hard. Fail first. Just, you know what I mean? Learn along the way and just, take the plunge and do it. It's not going to happen on its own.
Do it.
Exactly. All right, Carrie, it was very pleasure. Thank you so much. Take care.
Have an awesome night.
God bless
Good
everybody.
morning.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.